Daily Devotionals with open hearts and open minds. First United Methodist Church in Pueblo, Colorado presents Hope and Coffee with Pastor Hugo Venegas.
Hi, welcome back to Hope and Coffee. This week we're studying the face of hope that is called anger. And I want us to know that anger is a warning mechanism, spiritually and emotionally, that something is not right and we need to deal with it. And we are looking at in the story of Noah when his son, while he was drunk, did something bad to him. Some scholars and commentators suggest that it was something deviant that had been done to Noah. Now, I want us to know that the Bible doesn't dismiss anger as something bad. I'm going to take us to Ephesians chapter 4, verses 26 through 27, where the Apostle Paul says to the believers in Ephesus, he says, "In your anger do not sin." Those of us who are familiar with the King James Version, it says, "Be angry and sin not." So what Paul is suggesting is we have to deal with our anger, but we should not allow our anger to master us. And it says here do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. He who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with his own hands, that he may have something to share with those in need. So Paul is saying that we should not allow anger to be constantly in our lives, and we should not repress it, because if we don't deal with anger, Paul says that we give a foothold to the devil, who can come into our lives and blow our lives up because we're not dealing appropriately with anger. So the question that I have for us today is, how do we deal healthily with anger? Because if we don't deal with it, it becomes toxic for us emotionally, spiritually, and even our bodies can get sick if we repress anger or if we constantly blow up. So one of the things that I have done in the past years is to, when I am coaching couples in premarital coaching, is to help them to understand how to deal with anger. And when we want to know how to deal with anger healthily, we have to ask ourselves, why am I angry? Because sometimes what the reason for us being angry may be deeper than we think. And one of the things that I help couples is to help them with this analogy. Why is the baby crying? And I always ask him, why does a baby cry? And I'm going to list several of the answers that people give. Well, a baby cry because it's hungry. A baby cry because it's tired. A baby cry because it's sick. A baby cry because it wants to be held. A baby cries because it wants to play. The baby wants to play. And sometimes the baby cries because the baby needs to be changed, right? So if we are not emotionally clean, all right, if the slate in the relationship is not clean and we have a lot of resentments in our emotional diapers, that leads to anger. And what Paul wants us to know is that we have to deal with anger. Why am I angry? Why am I mad? And we have to take time to figure out what's going deep down inside of us as to why we're angry. And we see that while Noah was drunk, he was stupefied, he was under the influence, he did not have any ability to be aware as to what Ham was doing to him. But once he got up and came back to his senses, and he saw his nakedness and heard what his son had done to him, and he reflected on that, then that led him to curse Ham and to curse all the descendants, the Canaanites of Ham, because of what scholars believe was something sexually deviant that Ham did to his father. Now, but before we can hand out or deal with the person or the people that make us angry, we have to ask ourselves, why am I angry? Remember, why is the baby crying? Why am I angry? And when we take the time to understand what is behind the dashboard, that light. Remember, I said that anger is a warning system. It's a warning light on the dashboard. But we have to turn the car off, open the hood, and figure out what's going to happen. Or go to the mechanic and say, my light is on. Can you run the diagnostics and tell me what's happening? It's the same thing with anger. We have to run the diagnostics. We have to slow down and see what's happening, what's going on. And normally, remember, we talked about three toxic ways of dealing with anger yesterday. One is repression, when it's an outburst where we just explode, and then the other one is when religiously or the family of origin or our culture try to tell us you have no right to be angry. But I want you to know that if we ask ourselves, if we reflect on this question, why am I angry? We don't repress, we don't explode, but we calmly meditate. We calmly ask ourselves, why am I angry? Then we will know. This is the conclusion. When we take the time to figure it out, anger usually points out to a violation of something sacred or a violation of something that is valuable to us. Why do sisters get mad when a sister takes her clothing and puts it on? It's not that these sisters are not generous. It's the fact that a sister took the t-shirt, the jeans, the shoes, and put them on without asking for permission. So why is the anger? I feel violated and disrespected that you did not ask me for permission. Why do people in our culture get angry? Because sometimes they feel that injustices are done to them, while the same crime that someone else does, it creates no response. And that's what we're dealing with our culture. So if people are mad around us, we need to ask ourselves, why is the baby crying? Why is the baby crying? Does it need to be changed? Does it need to be held? Is it sick? And that list will help us to evaluate. Tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more about how to deal with this face of hope, anger. And God bless you. Hugo Venegas from Pueblo, Colorado. Have a marvelous day.
Thank you for joining us for our daily devotional, Hope and Coffee, with Pastor Hugo Venegas. If you enjoyed today's devotion, like or subscribe below. We also welcome you to join our family at First United Methodist Church in Pueblo, Colorado. You can visit our website at firstumcpueblo.org, and we hope you continue to have a blessed day. We'll see you tomorrow.